How we doing, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. I've got an awesome album review for you today. This is a real nasty British death metal band, Severe Lacerations, and this is the album Burning the Mortal Coil. Really good for this. So Severe Lacerations have got their history going back as far as the 90s. I think they've been on and off over the years. They've got various EPs and demos and whatnot. I think they've had a few lineup changes over the years. But this is a special album because this is been made in tribute to the band's guitarist Phil Rourke, who unfortunately passed away last year. So I think what it is, from what I gather, I spoke to Lee Cummings, the other guitarist, and these are the songs that he left behind, or I think it's songs that he left behind and songs that are made out of riffs that he left behind, but they were working on an album when he died, and this is them finishing that off in tribute to him. I'm not sure if they've completely re-recorded the guitars or if Phil's guitars are on the album and then Lee's added to it with the rest of it. Not quite sure how far that is, or I suppose it'll differ on different songs, but maybe I'll do an interview with the band at some point and they can fill me in with all that. So you got Phil Rourke on guitars, who's obviously a songwriter as well, and then you got Ian Maxwell, and on vocals, I'm just going to double check that because the writing on the back of this is Ian Maxwell, yeah. And Lee Cummings has done the guitars, bass, and drum programming to finish off the songs, and it's just a real awesome, nasty slice of British death metal. British death metal's quite distinctive as well. I've said this before, but British metal kind of captures like the difference between Florida death metal, for example, is that Florida death metal is quite intense, where it's always hot, while British metal kind of captures the dull, murky, always overcast, always raining, always cold. We're in the middle of, like, we're in the thick of winter at the moment, and we've got that sort of acidy cold where it just eats away at the corners of your body. And British metal, it's cold weather, sticky carpet, stale beer. There's something about, you always picture British death metal played in the back of a pub somewhere. And I always find as well that British death metal's kind of got a bit of a punk written into its DNA, because I think a lot of those early death metal bands started out as punk bands, like Bolt Thrower, for example. All those early bands that would go on to, Napalm Death, who would go on to get signed to Earache and whatnot, and then sort of establish that British wing of death metal. And Severe Lacerations, they do that classic recipe of death metal just done in a British way, and it's, to use like a food analogy, sometimes you don't need a modern twist, you don't need to mess around with the formula or recipe, or give it a new pizzazz, or mix it with this. Sometimes if you just do the ingredients right and prepare it right, that's all you need. Sometimes you just want a nice British, a nice steak pie, or a nice roast dinner, or if it's done, made properly, you don't need to do anything else. Keep it traditional, and that's what they've done here. You've got 8 tracks with an intro track at the beginning, so 9 tracks in total. But yeah, it's just an awesome slice of classic done British death metal with everything mixed in nicely. You've got awesome riffs, awesome. You've got some good melodic shredding. You've got big chunky riffs. You've got slow doomy sections. You've got massive grooves, all perfectly paced and put together nicely, all sequenced well. So just 40 minutes of just pure death metal done right. There's some, there's melody in there when it's needed, but the melody never takes away from the intensity of the heaviness. It's anything, just adds a nice dark layer to the songs. I've got other stuff to show off as well, so but I'll concentrate on telling you about the songs for the time being. So yeah, it kicks off with like an intro track, Memento Mori. That's got a nice sort of cinematic feel to it. It's got it's kind of different sound effects and synthesizers and that, and it builds up. And then it, in the last sort of 30 seconds or so, it just kicks into this dun 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 dun, It sounds really vicious and really like, yeah, vicious. Let's go with that. And then it kicks into Terror Signal. And yeah, this song perfectly just paces out what you're going to get for the rest of the album. It's everything you want. It's fantastic vocals, nice deep guttural vocals. There's a couple of high pitched screams here and now, but Ian tends to keep it just nice and a nice roar going through the album with a couple of yeah when needed. He kind of keeps that in his back pocket for when he wants to deliver like a climax to the song. But yeah, you've got fantastic riffs, perfectly paced out, but then the band always know when to throw in a big groove as well. Immutable has got like a real dirty riff to it. It's got like a sort of like a punky edge to it. If anything, Immutable reminds me of like an early black metal song, like something off like one of the early Mayhem demos or something like that. It's got like a sort of simple, like it's just really dirty. It's got like a you know. Beautiful solo on that track though, and that's one thing. Every song on this is something that's actually through the album, and it's its biggest credit really, is that all the solos on this for all the songs throughout the album, you've got a perfect mix of like frantic, you know, chaotic technical riffs, solos, to like beautiful melodic solos, and with that classic James Murphy ring, that you know, like the went over like a real slow section, you know, like the opening bit of like Calls of Death by Obituary, you know, that you know, that real mournful sort of thing, and then that ringing guitar. They've got both. You tend to get one or the other with a death metal band. You either get like Kerry King, Rick Ross frantic solos, or James Murphy melodic solos. With Severe Lacerations, you get both. You get the perfect mixture of both for whatever's suited to the song, and that's rare to pull that off. You know, like pulling off both. And when you've got a song like Immutable or Unholy Revenge, actually was one of the first standout tracks. When I first listened to the album, it was Unholy Revenge. It was like, oh, make a note of this one, because yeah, that the solo really stood out for me on that one. Unholy Revenge starts off with this good chugging sort of Carcass style riff, and then it leads into this slow groove that's just real thick, real nice. That was the first track that really stood out to me, and there's a real sort of breakdown at the end of that track, like a bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum. Atavistic as well. It's got like a real stomping dun, 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 sort of with some intense shredding going on with that one as well. But yeah, all through it as well, when needed as well, the solos can be really melodic but really sort of mournful as well. Like you can really tell the band are grieving on this album. Like they've got that, you know, that their friend in the back of their mind, and you can feel the emotion in the solos. And during the riffs as well, there's little melodic leads over the top as well. There's like some slower sections with like a nice melodic riff going over it as well. Sorry, that was starting to go cold, so I had to just neck it. But it's not a melodic death metal album by any chance. Like it's melodic death metal, but it's not melodic death metal, if you know what I mean. But there's just subtle little melodies put in just ease the song along nicely, and it just gives it an extra layer. It doesn't take away from the intensity of the songs or the heaviness of it. But yeah, overall, this is a fantastic 40 minutes of just classic, traditional British death metal done properly, and it's really infectious, and it just gets better with every listen. I'm loving this album. It completely caught me off guard. I'd not heard of the band but they've really done themselves proud here. So I've got a few things to show off. So this is the Digipack CD. If you look into the description of the video, I'll put the band's metal archives so you can read the history of the band a bit more detailed than what I've given you. And then I'll put a link to the band's Bandcamp, so everything you see I'm going to show off now you'll be able to buy. So yeah, this is a great, really nice printed Digipack CD of the album. There's the main man there, rocking out. And then what's really cool here is the band's managed to get out a picture disc, vinyl. So let's have a look at this. You got the bands there, and then an awesome album cover as well. I love this album artwork as well. Like, this is proper 90s. That's a proper 90s album cover, isn't it? That's when back in the 90s, where you think like Monstrosity or someone like that, where they put together like those early computer graphic album covers. Right, everything you need to know is written down here. I don't know if you've got this. Unless it's in no. Yeah, you got yeah, there's a thank you for purchasing the album, and they explain the backstory there. The guys have signed it as well. I only just noticed that. Thank you, guys. And then is it just yes? And then you got the lyrics on the back there. I'm handling this vinyl terribly. So yeah, get yourself this picture disc. It's a real reasonable price as well. And then and you got a T-shirt as well. I should have put this on really, shouldn't I? Oh no, this is right. That leads me to the next one. Right. I managed to pick up as well. So Lee Cummings is in another band with Andy Whale, the original bolt thrower drummer, or the classic bolt thrower drummer at least. And they've got a new project called Death Collector. So yeah, I grabbed this the EP. They've just put out an album as well, I think on Listenable Records. This is really nice as well. There's 3 tracks on this. Really glad I managed to get a signed copy as well. Thank you for that. Death Collector is like that's quite melodic, but nasty. And Internal Expansion and Terrorizer, just balls to the wall, nasty death metal. Really good stuff. And they also threw in a guitar pick, and I've got a couple of stickers there, which I will now put on the wall of death. Here we go. And then every then going forward, should we put that? Oh shit! Put that one there, and I'll put this one up here. There you go. Going forward, you're on the wall of death. And this is a T-shirt for Death. I actually thought this was a Severe Lacerations T-shirt, but right, this is the cover of the band's album, which I've not got yet, but I will be getting. And yeah, that's what you would expect if you've got Bolt Thrower's original drummer or classic drummer. I can't remember if he was original or classic, but doesn't matter, does it? You know who he is. But yeah, that's really good as well. But Severe Lacerations, definitely check this out. If you're a death metal fan, this is pretty essential. I mean, if I was going to give one criticism, and this is I would have liked a drummer on the album. I think that would have done the songs a lot of justice, but I'm sure Lee and Ian are looking at me now going, yeah, Joe, we know. We would have liked to have recorded it with Eric Rutan and producing it and Derek Roddy on drums. We know that, dickhead. But that ever so slight peeve aside, trust me, the songs, the quality of the songs far outweigh how they're recorded. And who cares anyway? In death metal, people spend a fortune on a bloody 7-inch that sounded like it was recorded in the kitchen. So, yeah, ever so slight peeve aside, this is awesome album. Well worth your attention. So definitely go get it. It's good, nasty stuff. And the brain fart. The Bandcamp and the band's Metal Archives page will be in the description. And Lee and Ian, guys, you've done yourselves proud here. You can rest easy. You've fulfilled your friend's wishes and you've done your friend proud. So you can tip your hat to that and be proud of yourselves. Well done. You've done Phil proud. So rest in peace, Phil. And yeah, your memory and your legacy will be living on for this awesome band. And I hope they make something from this as well. I hope they get a full lineup and start gigging and then start writing songs in the spirit of this. That'd be a really cool project to go forward with. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you've made it this far, give us one of them. And check out Severe Lacerations and more reviews to come. And I'll see you all soon. Cheers. Take care.